On paper, the idea of free in-game events where you unlock new free objects is not a bad one. From the consumer's perspective, it's very rare for a video game publisher to include in-game events that are wholly free and require no premium upgrade or any other in-game purchases. Yet for some reason, I feel like Simmers can categorically agree we don't really like or want the Battle Pass events. They're not terrible, but I feel like we could all say if they didn't exist, we wouldn't really care. So what's actually the problem here? According to EA, events are a limited time experience centered around a fun theme with free rewards or gameplay that adds new opportunities to your game. My personal theory is that they're trying to boost the number of active players because EA can boast that The Sims 4 has as many millions of players as they like, but there's a big difference between people who have downloaded and played the game once versus people who consistently play it every single week. Are they trying to boost the amount of people who play it every single week? That could be it. According to the Steam play counts of The Sims 4, the numbers haven't dwindled that much like before these events were introduced. Obviously, the Steam player count is not a perfect measurement, but it doesn't seem like player counts are necessarily going down. I genuinely have no idea other than just assuming that it's some kind of thing to boast to shareholders. This is EA, guys. There must be an ulterior motive. It can't just be to make the players happy. There's no way. Because if that were the case, players would be saying nice things about the events, not generally overwhelmingly bad things. I think the core reason as to why these events aren't going down very well is that they just feel a little bit shallow. For example, the most recent event is the Christmas event, referred to as Cozy Celebrations or something like that. The event is about celebrating different holiday traditions from around the world, but this merely involves performing basic interactions like researching traditions on the PC, asking Sims about their traditions, followed by a generic text box. A core issue with The Sims 4, which I personally think is a good thing, is that it inherently tiptoes around real life traditions in order to make it appeal to everyone. This is why, for example, the Christmas NPC in the game is wearing a blue robe and is called Father Winter rather than Santa Claus, or why the Easter Bunny is referred to as the Flower Bunny or Flower Pal, whatever it's called, or it's why we don't have religion in the game. So by attempting to be inclusive to a breadth of traditions in this event that they don't explicitly mention, it just ends up leading it to feel quite washed out and a shallow gameplay experience. A better gameplay experience, in my opinion, would be to actually celebrate real life traditions one at a time. For example, maybe one year, for example, they could do a Japanese Christmas Battle Pass where you go have KFC and go on a date for Christmas, and then the next year we could have like a German Christmas market with, you know, in-game markets and things. Simply getting us to do very basic interactions like speak to another sim about holiday traditions, research holiday traditions on a PC. It's a little bit basic, a little bit patronizing, and there's no real challenge to it, and it's just not fun. The same could be said for the recent Grim Reaper event, which was done around Halloween. This had you doing different tasks for Grim in order to harvest a death flower, which is a flower that you use, by the way, in game to resurrect other Sims, which is a fun idea. But I went through the whole event, and the finale of the event wasn't really finale. There was no like end goal. There wasn't really a reason why you were doing all of these tasks. It was very anticlimactic, and afterwards I left it thinking, why the hell did I just do all that? What did I actually get from it? And it's a shame that these events are rather shallow because they don't have to be. There is a way that they can make events a little bit more interesting because they have done more interesting events in the past. They did do a live music event once, which is where they actually got real life singers to perform on a stage in game singing in Simlish in front of a crowd, and it was kind of like a mini music festival. This is an example of a brand new gameplay experiences added in an event, not just performing basic shallow base game interactions, but actually something that's new and interesting. I feel like players would much rather something like this rather than a very basic battle pass system. Another huge issue is the gatekeeping of items being limited time only, because this goes against one of the core things of The Sims 4, which is the gallery. As you guys know, if you play The Sims, the gallery is full of different creations that you can download. This could be different Sims, different houses, different rooms, having features that are limited, meaning that you can't get them after the event. It's just bizarre considering the way The Sims 4 is set up. In fact, even if you do miss these events, by the way, you can still access the items. On the gallery, if you search by rooms and you type in, for example, Cozy Celebration for the Cozy Celebrations event, you can just download a room off the gallery and then actually put these objects in your game. But if you didn't take part in the event, the only way to access the stuff is to download these rooms. It's the same with the Grim Reaper event. If you miss that one out, you can just download the objects here. So although it won't show up in the build mode or create a sim catalog for you, you can technically access these objects. But then there are certain things, for example, limited time traits, so like lot traits and sim traits, which can't really be accessed in the same way, meaning that it really hinders the experience of the game, especially seeing that EA is always bigging up the gallery and being able to share things. It just doesn't make any sense. Another humongous issue is just how obtrusive these events are. You can see in the top left corner of the screen, there's the event icon here, and I've completed the event for this week already. But if you haven't completed it, you will get pop-ups popping up everywhere, popping up all in your face. It's like you're being slapped in the face by an 8-inch dick from all different angles. It's pretty intense. Not that I've ever experienced that, of course. And it's making The Sims 4 feel more like one of those freemium mobile app games with different events popping up all over the place. And players don't like that. The Sims 4 is a PC and console experience. We don't want it to feel like a mobile app. And of course, The Sims 4 is a very buggy game, meaning that even though on paper these events are quite simple and shallow, they still do cause issues. The Grim Reaper event was probably the most prominent one, which I know many people who genuinely just could not complete the Grim events simply because the event goals were just uncompletable, so they weren't able to access all of the rewards, not out of a lack of effort, but because the game literally wouldn't let them. I've even had issues with the Christmas event where one of the events didn't complete correctly. It was a little bit annoying. So what's actually going to happen going forward? Because players clearly haven't expressed that much positivity about these events really, but it seems like there's no sign of them stopping. Is it to condition us to accept a possible future premium battle pass? God forbid. I haven't properly really played The Sims Mobile, but as far as I'm aware, they do have a premium battle pass feature. I think it's referred to as the Festival Premium Pass or something. I don't know that much about it, but it's evident that EA are quite keen to implement mobile style game mechanics into The Sims 4, so it wouldn't surprise me if we got a premium battle pass. There is also the chance that this just won't last. If players really don't like it, they could abandon it, especially seeming that most simmers are expressing dislike to the events rather than expressing that they find them fun. The Sims team do have a very bad habit of implementing features then abandoning them after a while. For example, we have the Sims 4 scenarios feature, which actually could have had so much potential, but it wasn't very well received. So instead of refining on and improving this experience, they basically just gave up, and now we haven't had any brand new scenarios ever since. So will they eventually just give up on the seasonal battle pass instead of refining it and improving it? That seems quite likely considering what they've done in the past. I'm personally not against the idea of free in-game events. I think it's more fun than just giving us the free SDX drops patch updates like they've done in the past, where they just randomly give us free objects. I actually like the idea of having an in-game event, but I think it's just the way that they've been implemented is bad. I think some of the event rewards are a little bit lazy, and I don't think the quality of the events are up to par. And as I mentioned before, they're very obtrusive. Going forward, I personally would like to see the events have much more meaningful activities, including brand new gameplay experiences that lead to you unlocking objects, kind of like the way Sims 4 scenarios work actually, but with the events not being limited time only. In the top left, you can see the events tab, but it doesn't show you all of the events. It only really shows you the one active event right now. I personally would rather an events tab which just showed all events, making none of them limited time only, so that you can kind of hop in and out of which one that you like at any given time. I personally think that would be a lot more fun. You guys let me know what you think of Sims 4 events. If you haven't watched any of my event series, I will link to the Christmas one and the Halloween ones here. Thank you very much for watching. I will see you in the next video.